So a lot of people find that time is one of the biggest barriers to changing their habits and routines. Finding the time to work out, finding the time to make habit changes, finding the time to cook healthy, balanced meals rather than reaching for convenient junk food. There's a lot of things which we feel that we might need to fit in. There's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of overwhelm as well, because I think as humans, we tend to really overcomplicate a lot of things. We think there's more to things than there actually is. And so when we want to change our health and our fitness, we see all of these things that we have to change, and we just think, man, I just don't have the time to do all that stuff. This might seem, this might ring a bell to you. This might seem like something maybe that you've said, or maybe people close to you have said. It's a pretty common theme. I work with a lot of people who have very busy lives. They've got demanding jobs, they've got families, they've got hobbies which require a lot of time. And so when I talk to them about making some changes to their routine and making some changes to their habits so that they can improve their energy levels and so that they can reap the rewards of better health, better fitness, they have this block to do with time. It's a real common thing. The overwhelm, the too much information, that doesn't help as well, because a lot of people feel that they're not entirely sure which path to go down anyway. So there's a huge amount of information out there, and they don't have time to sift through all of the information to find the stuff that's right for them. Even that in itself can seem overwhelming in terms of time. And what I'm going to try and do now is break it down into a few simple steps that you can take, a few simple strategies that you can use, and give you a clear indication of the amount of time that you need to put in to your journey, to your changes, to your fitness. So first off, it might not be as much as you think. It might not be as much time as you're currently thinking. It might be a lot more achievable, and it might give you the ability to take that first step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down into three things. Now I like to I like threes. Okay, I like threes. Threes work really nicely for a lot of things. And so I'm going to break this down into three things, which I believe are essentially the three categories of keystone habits that you can use to change your fitness. The first one is movement, the second one is nourishment, and the third one is rest. And I'm going to go into each one of these in a little bit more depth in turn and give you something that you can take away right now and implement in your life. So the first one, movement. The NHS guideline for physical activity, in order to reap a lot of the benefits that are listed off on the NHS website of physical activity. Things like reducing the risk of heart disease, reducing the risk of diabetes, reducing the risk of depression, all of those kinds of things. The advice given is 150 minutes per week of moderate activity. And when they say moderate activity, what they mean is something which gets your heart rate up, something which gets your breathing rate up. And 150 minutes over the week is 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And it's not a huge amount, but it can still seem really daunting when you can barely find 5 minutes for yourself. 30 minutes a day, every weekday, that can be quite a lot. It can be a barrier to people. However, that is not a magic number. Yes, it's the number that is the general government guidance, the NHS guidance for getting those particular benefits at the particular percentage levels that they have listed off as reducing the risk. So, for example, reducing the risk of depression by 30%, that's done on the science of that is done on 150 minutes of moderate activity per week. However, 150 minutes is not a magic number. If you can't face 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, do 20 minutes, do 10 minutes, do 5 minutes. 5 minutes is better than no minutes. You're still going to get some benefit from those lower numbers, right? You don't have to suddenly get to the 30 minutes per day, the 150 minutes over the week, in order to unlock those benefits. It's a sliding scale. And so with more activity comes more benefit. You can start with 5 minutes or 10 minutes per day of some kind of moderate activity and still get a benefit from that. And the real power with that as well, the real power with starting small, is that you can build on the successes that you have had within that particular habit. You get some points on the board early. You can chalk up getting into a routine of doing 5 minutes activity every single morning and then increase it to 10 minutes. And then a few weeks later, increase it to 15 minutes. You've got a foundation which you can continue to build on long term, because the success early on of doing the 5 minutes has built your confidence. It has built your routine, the automatic behavior of doing that with a low motivation cost, rather than jumping in and trying to do 30 minutes. A case in point, I have this morning started doing a run in the mornings. Now, I'm not a natural runner. It's not something that I've done a lot of, but I've decided that I want to get back into that a little bit. I've done a little bit in the past, and it's something that I want to make a priority. Now, did I go out and run 5K this morning? No, I didn't, because I know for a fact that I wouldn't maintain that. I wouldn't sustain it. I wouldn't do that every morning because the motivation cost is just too high. So I ran around the block, literally 2 minutes, out of my door, down the road, up the path, along the other road, back onto my road, back home. That's it. Round the block. Because what I know is that that has a low motivation cost, meaning that I can sustain that every day. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a huge barrier to me. And then as that becomes more automatic and more natural, I can build on that. And I'm still going to get benefits from having done that. I'm still going to feel an improvement in my running, an improvement in my fitness from doing just that small amount. So start small with the movement and build on it. So you don't need 150 minutes a week. You just need something, anything. It really doesn't matter how much. The second thing, the nourishment, the food side of things. Now, on this front, you already eat, right? You already invest time into eating on a daily basis. And so my advice, if you're going to invest a little bit more time into your food, is to put that time into planning, not into cooking more or spending hours chopping extra veg and slaving over the oven, but just a little bit of extra time into planning. Because if you spend half an hour a week planning what you're going to eat for that week, you will find that you're going to eat way, way better than you would if you haven't invested that 30 minutes. And that's not 30 minutes every day. That's 30 minutes once. It might not even take you 30 minutes to sit down and plan your meals for the week. And the benefits you're going to get time back in terms of the time you might spend each day going, oh, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? Making sure you've got everything and all of that stuff, because you've already got it planned. So you're going to get that time back. You're also going to save money because your shopping list is going to be based around what you're actually having, rather than impulse buys and stuff that just ends up going off or not getting used, or having to go back to the shop 3 or 4 times a week. If you're anything like I used to be, going back to the shop 3 or 4 times during the week to pick up bits and pieces that you had forgotten because you need them through the week because you haven't planned your meals. So you're going to save time and you're going to save money. And that extra 30 minutes is going to pay dividends in terms of your health, because you can really plan what you're going to have. It might be something as simple as having more veg with your meals. And you say, right, I'm going to have these same kind of meals that I normally have, but I'm going to have more veg. I'm going to have a big plate of salad with this and reduce the rest of my portion size. So you're keeping it real simple and you're just planning a couple of changes. Don't try and change everything. Don't try and overhaul your complete diet, but just try including more veggies in your meals, for example. That's just something that you can do as part of that plan. So again, the time, 30 minutes a week, and you're going to make that time back. The third thing is rest. And once again, this is something you already do. I'm assuming you already sleep. So this is something you already do. And rather than trying to increase the amount of sleep you get, your best bet is to increase the quality or improve the quality of your sleep. Most people, they get a reasonable number of hours. It might not be, I know the number 8 is bandied around a lot. Some people might get 7 or a bit less. If you're getting like 3 hours of sleep, probably increase that, right? If you're going to sleep at 3 a.m. and getting up at 6 a.m., then yeah, your focus probably should be on increasing the actual amount of sleep you get. But for most people, it's more about improving the quality. So getting a good 6.5 hours rather than just a rubbish 6.5 hours, or a good 7 hours rather than a rubbish 7 hours. Now, remember, my definition of fitness is your ability to cope with and recover from stress. And it's very, very difficult to cope with and recover from stress if you're tired, if you're not rested, if you haven't had that restorative sleep. Whether it is physical stress and physical demands on the body, or whether it's mental demands on the body. If you've got mental stress to deal with and you're tired and you're not refreshed, you're going to struggle with that. The same as if you tried to run a marathon or do something physical after not having enough sleep. It's going to be challenging. So rest is absolutely key for improving your fitness. And it's probably the most overlooked one as well. So in terms of improving your quality of sleep, there's one thing which changes your quality of sleep more than anything else. In my experience, in my own personal experience, in my experience of working with clients, that one thing is ditching your screens for an hour before going to sleep. So whatever your chosen sleep time is, if that's, let's say it's 11 o'clock, let's say it's 11 p.m. that you choose to go to sleep, then from 10 p.m. your screens go off. Whether it's your laptop, your TV, your phone, whatever. The blue light messes with your sleep patterns. Now, I know you can get blue light blocking glasses, you can get blue light filters on your phone. However, there is also the impact of the amount of information going into your brain. We are feeding our brain huge amounts of information by scrolling through social media and by reading news stories and watching videos and playing games and all of that kind of stuff. It's just a huge amount of information going into our brain, and that doesn't bode well for quality sleep. So it's not just the blue light, but it's also that overstimulation. So ditch the screens. So you're ditching the blue light and you're ditching the overstimulation, and instead use that hour to read, to journal, to meditate, to have a bath or a shower, to go through some kind of self-care routine, to listen to music, to talk to your other half or whoever you live with. Have a conversation. Things which are relaxing. Things which get you ready for sleep rather than overstimulating you and rather than using that blue light. So those 3 things to recap. Number 1, movement. Anything is better than nothing. Start small. Start with 5 minutes a day. You won't even notice that. Build on that as you go forward, but start small. The second thing, nourishment. You will make the time back, but invest half an hour in planning your food for the week and then build your shopping list around that. You will earn that time back in terms of less trips to the shops, less time wondering about what to eat that night and faffing about. So that is an investment that pays off almost immediately. And thirdly, rest. Don't necessarily sleep more, but sleep better by allowing yourself that time at the end of the day. And that's not time you're giving up. That's time that you're taking for yourself. That's time that you're taking back from mindlessly scrolling through social media or mindlessly watching Netflix. And you're taking it back and you're using it for you to look after yourself. So I guess the thing that I really want to finish with as well is that with any of these things, something is better than nothing. 5 minutes is better than nothing. 2 minutes is better than nothing in terms of your exercise. In terms of your food, 15 minutes planning your food or planning your food a little bit better or just planning the evening meals is better than not doing it at all. If you want to turn your screens off but you can't face an hour So you start with half an hour, 20 minutes or half an hour, and then you build up from there. That is still better than nothing. So in answer to the question, how much time should you invest? How much time per week do you need to put into getting fit? That depends on your situation. It can be absolutely anything. It can be as little as 5-10 minutes. It can be as much as an hour a day. It depends on your situation and what you have got available. But no matter what situation you're in, there is always the possibility to make those changes and to fit it in a very, very small amount of time. So start small and go from there.